Okay, so Lori comes over and he just takes the mic away. So I was so excited to want to do this because I believe that what Jason said, that this is about leadership. It is about leadership, and I never believed in any associations when I was involved in other things. I wasn't thinking about it, but many of you know who have been here after 9/11, okay? We started something called the Convention Exhibit Meeting Coalition, and we put together a team of 400 people who worked tirelessly almost for 6 months after 9/11 to help bring the city back. How many people here were involved in that? I mean, there's a lot of people here that were involved in it. It was called CB. And it made me realize the importance of leadership and the importance of getting involved in your community. And it was probably one of the most rewarding things that I have ever done. And it taught me that if you give, you're going to get back. And it's that rule of nature that really works. And so we're here today to talk about leadership and getting people involved. Whether you're involved or your company is involved or the people in your company involved, encouraging them to get to be part of the community, to peek over the fence to see what other people are doing is more important than you can ever imagine. So we're going to start with the elevator pitch. If I had a little cheat sheet when I got involved in this industry to figure out what the initials meant and everything, it would be a lot easier because I felt embarrassed to ask. I don't know what site is or PCMA. Everybody talks in jargon. And we really don't understand any of it, right? Until you sort of get it translated. So we're going to go down the line. We're going to start with Tom, and he's going to talk about MPI in the elevator pitch for 30 seconds. All right. Introduce yourself, and well, we already know Jason did such a great job.
Jason did a great job, but I'm Mike Maturo. I'm one of the co-founders of YP, along with David Fletcher, who is also a co-founder of YP. And we started this because we wanted YP to be a place where you could have genuine networking, people who are new to the industry, young at heart, who had a lot of innovative ideas. They wanted to bring that into the industry. We're a place for that space. So we've had things like live painting, we've had giant games, giant board games, we've had...
What's your elevator pitch?
The elevator pitch, the elevator pitch is that YP is a place for people to gain that genuine networking across the entire industry.
For younger people in the industry, right?
For young people, young at heart.
Young at heart. No, all right, go ahead. Okay. Thank you. I want to ask everyone, how many people are members of any of these organizations? Let me go the other way. How many people are not members of any of these organizations? Okay. And so your job is to convince them to join your organization. And actually, you're not talking to them, but this is social media world. You're really talking to them and their 17 friends and their 17 friends and their 17 friends. So this is the pitch to do that. And so I want to start first with go around the horn on what are the benefits of being a member. What's a personal benefit of being a member? Oh yeah, we need the microphone.
YP is an opportunity for two major things. It's to show your own personal leadership in an organization in the events industry, and to show your creativity, to produce an event that's going to have an impact on people in the industry. We've seen that with Jason throughout this past year. We saw that with George Sutherland III with his Texpo this past couple months ago. So it's all about showing your leadership and creativity within this structure, creating this.
Can I say one thing also about what I've learned from what you guys are doing? They have the greatest rule for being the head of the organization. It's 6 months. You were in it for 6 months. I'm trying to get my condo association to adopt that. They're not in 6 years and I can't get out of it. But it's really ingenious, actually, when we want to learn from this new group of brilliant people about how to rethink at things. And why did you do that?
Well, the main reason is to keep it fresh, to make sure that everybody has an opportunity to show who they are. And the people who were president and in leadership positions have gone on to do incredible things. They've stayed with the organization and they keep showing their leadership throughout the year.
And they're building it's interesting that they're building their alumni faster this way. It's like, how do you quadruple your legacy people by giving them short-term roles? It's kind of brilliant. So I would suggest it's something we should all steal. And I'll just talk one more minute about Burning Man. We had a conversation about Burning Man, and I think that is influence. He's one of the founders, so
I did go to Burning Man for 2 years, and that really brought a lot of, when I talk about creativity in the events world, we had a moment of zen that got 100 people in the events world to be quiet for a moment and just focus on a moment of gratitude. And we do that sort of thing Not necessarily that particular thing, but that sort of thing at our networking events so that people can feel better connected to each other. And that's how I brought Burning Man to...
How many burners are in the room?
Young event professionals.
Which burners?
You've got it.
They call burners.
They call
I know this.
You know it. You know it.
Had the privilege of working with the State Department for the last 6 years, and one of the jobs was to raise $21 million for the 8th floor of the State Department as a museum. And so what can we do? We can do anything we want. So we decided to have Charlie Rose interview Hillary Clinton and Henry Kissinger together. And the one thing I learned about our business from that discussion was when Henry Kissinger said to Hillary, you know, Hillary, I can't do a Henry Kissinger accent, that you're drinking from a fire hose every day. All you are doing is spending your intellectual capital. You cannot make decisions. You have to take time to build your intellectual capital. And that he says he takes time off all the time to go to conferences, to go to meetings, to study and learn. And what these associations do are a way to build your intellectual capital. And I learned that, I thought, that's the reason we do conferences. And it was really an eye-opening thing for me. So, so that's my advice to why you should also get involved. We have heard about networking, we heard about taking a leadership role, we talk about building your intellectual capital in your niche, which is pretty fantastic. Now I want to go and sort of touch a little bit on the economic aspects of this. Like, what does it cost to join, and why is it worth it, and how do you pitch your boss to get to be a member? I mean, why spend the money to do it? What crosses the Rubicon to get you there? And talk a little bit about why it was worth it and how you actually got your company, your organization to pay for it. Because most of these are paid for by companies, yes or no? Most of the companies are paying for us. So how do you convince your, well, if you're an individual entrepreneur, your company's paying for it, but you've got to make the decision whether it's worth it or not. So you're voting with your dollars in this. So this is kind of the little bit of the tough question. Tom, you want to give it a shot? How about YP?
Well, YP doesn't have membership fees. We do charge for the events that we hold about $20. We make it very reasonable so that it's a no-brainer for people to be involved with young event professionals.
Not open bar, right?
Not open bar, but sometimes.
Yeah.
Sometimes we
have. That's a big deal.
We have actually had events where the $20 gets you an open bar, so keep that in mind. But I mean, the primary goal is to keep people involved in the organization at all levels of your organization. People who are new to the industry, people who are veterans of the industry. We want everybody to be involved in that, and so we set that bar, the price bar, very low.
Are you getting sponsorship then, or are you?
We do very often get sponsorship for most of our events, like the sponsors we've had tonight. Almost every one of our events, the venue sponsors. There's usually a sponsor for food and beverage, so you're absolutely right on that as well.
Okay, good. How about you?
It's kind of the same thing. We don't have a membership fee just yet, and it's kind of what I loved about YP and WHAM. It's your, as much as you put in it, like everybody keeps saying, is what you get out of it. And you really see who wants to make a difference and who wants to get involved. I agree with Tom regarding the membership fees. I wouldn't want to pay $600 a year and I'm not doing anything and I'm not meeting anyone and I'm not planning anything, I'm just showing up. So it is, I mean, if there's a benefit, I won't mind paying a fee, membership fee, but you know, there needs to be a benefit.
So the bridge, the actual bridge to cross is getting the YEP members to want to, or talk to their companies into getting the memberships in the bigger organizations, right? I mean, that seems to me like there is a niche for the YP because they're sort of training wheels for event organizers or people in the industry, and we need to somehow get them to step up, right? Diane, I don't know what you're going to say.
Well,
whatever it is,
okay.
fine.
So I have a question. So how, is YEP and WHAM only indigenous to New York? Or where are the other?
No, right now it's in the Manhattan area.
So it's a club.
But let me point out one thing. You know, I get to see the whole world, so it's sort of interesting. Metro, what's the name of the organization in Washington?
Metro DC.
Metro DC.
No.
Metro DC is a threat to the association world in that market right now because they are offering services that an association does without the real meat of an association. So I think it's sort of a challenging time, which we're going to get into that a little bit as well. Learning is we're going much more global, and everybody around the world is doing exactly the same thing that we're doing. And so that's really interesting. So, okay, so but then we have all these events that you do together, right? How do you guys work together? I go to Christmas parties and it's everybody together, so why not just have one big organization? What's your answer to that? Tom, the hot seat, Mr. Vice President of the class of what?
High school or college?
Oh my God, college, what college?
03.
03, and then what, were you the Vice President in college too?
No, I was president of my fraternity.
President of your fraternity. Now we're really getting to that. Okay, so tell us a little bit about what everybody's doing together. Let's talk about collaboration, because we are all in one industry, and we're all have the same goals. And to me, the goal is to get people to collaborate, to have conversations, and change the world.
We do a lot to make sure that our leadership actually communicates with students. We're working very hard with Diane and others to get our leadership involved with students.
Yeah, that's why I think that the idea of using YEP as a theater organization and a gateway, leaning into this. I always believe in leaning into millennials, because when boomers lean into millennials and they leave their ego at the door on both sides, it's magical. And I have a lot of millennials working with me, and I think they're the smartest generation coming, even much smarter than we are, and. That's my pitch for millennials.
Yeah, and there's no membership fee in there's no membership fee in WAM, but their students are always welcome, and we encourage leadership positions. We encourage people to take on leadership roles and
you
do
take
something.
Volunteers for all sorts of things.
Absolutely.
I know that all of us take volunteers, right? Yes. Volunteers are the secret weapon of New York City. And when we do our trade shows, we get 70, 80 volunteers at a pop. So, and other events get lots of volunteers, and it's really an amazing way to recruit people who want to get in the industry. It's the other thing I tell people when they want to get in. Volunteer for something.
We love to have.
So maybe there's some interesting thing about our discussion at the table and here about using YEP to be a feeder organization for your mentoring programs, which would be a great connection. And we see that, I think that we appreciate that YEP is hosting this, which shows tremendous initiative on their part to even think about this idea. So I congratulate them for that. And I want to open up for anyone have questions out there.